Life separates the false from the true before it elevates you. You may not realize it yet, but every pain, every loss, every confusion in your life has been a process of separation, not punishment. Life is not cruel. Life is precise. It knows exactly what must be broken before you can rise. It removes what is false and your illusions, your masks, your borrowed identities, so that what is real in you can finally breathe. But you resist. You call it suffering. You call it chaos. You call it bad luck. And I tell you, it is none of those things. It is life doing its deepest surgery, cutting away everything that is not you. When I say life separates the false from the true before it elevates you, I am not speaking in poetry. I am speaking in experience. Look into your life. Every time something or someone left you, you believed you were being diminished. Yet every loss carried a hidden blessing. You became lighter, freer, closer to yourself. But you were too busy clinging to what was dying to notice the birth happening within you. You want elevation, but you do not want the separation that precedes it. You want awakening, but you resist the shaking that opens your eyes. You want to know who you are, but you keep protecting who you are not. The process of self-knowledge is not a journey of gaining. It is a journey of losing. You will not become more. You will become less. You will not gather more beliefs. You will be stripped of them. You will not find comfort. You will find truth, and truth burns. But only the false burns. The real in you cannot be destroyed. So, do not be afraid when life begins to take things from you. Do not panic when it confuses your mind, when it challenges your plans, when it exposes your insecurities. It is not a curse, it is a purification. The old you must collapse for the true you to stand. This is why the path of self-knowledge is so feared, because it does not give you what your ego desires, it gives you what your soul needs. The ego wants safety, the soul wants freedom. The ego builds walls, the soul wants to fly. The ego collects, the soul releases. And between these two, the false and the true, life will always choose the true, even if it means breaking you in the process. I have watched many people come to me in pain, asking for help. They wanted peace, but they were not ready for truth. And peace without truth is just anesthesia, a spiritual drug that delays awakening. You must allow life to disturb you, to unsettle you, to make you question everything you thought you knew. Only then can you see what was borrowed and what was born from your own being. You are not who you think you are. You are not the story you repeat to yourself. You are not your job, your relationships, your achievements, your failures. These are just costumes, beautiful, necessary perhaps, but temporary, and life in its infinite compassion will tear them apart one by one, because it wants you naked, not physically, but existentially. It wants you real. You ask for awakening, but do you understand what you're asking for? You are asking for death, not the death of your body, but the death of your lies, your fears, your self-image. Awakening is the most beautiful death. It kills nothing essential. It only removes the dust covering your light. I remember once someone asked me, "Why does life hurt so much when we try to find ourselves?" And I told them, because you are not finding yourself. You are losing everything that is not yourself. The pain is not in the discovery. The pain is in the detachment. When you realize this, you will begin to trust life. Even in the moments when everything falls apart, you will whisper, "Something real is being born." That is when separation becomes sacred. That is when the tearing becomes healing. That is when you understand, life is not against you. It is for your truth. The most painful moments of your life were not punishments. They were awakenings in disguise. When you lost what you thought you could not live without, life was testing you. Are you this, or are you more than this? And if you were honest enough, you would have seen every ending was a beginning that you were not yet ready to see. Life never takes something from you unless it is preparing you for something deeper. But your mind, conditioned by fear, calls every ending a tragedy. You cry for what is gone instead of celebrating what is revealed. That is the blindness of identification. You have become so identified with the false that when life removes it, you call it death. Look closely. Everything that life has ever taken from you was never truly yours. The people, the possessions, the identities, they came and went because they were passing clouds, not your sky. But the sky remains. That is what I call self-knowledge. To recognize yourself as the sky, not the clouds. When you understand this, you stop begging life for permanence. You begin to see beauty even in impermanence. You stop clinging to what is fading, and instead you learn to dance with the disappearing. You stop praying for stability and start celebrating change. This is when maturity begins, not when you control life, but when you surrender to it with awareness. The false within you resists change because change is death to the false. Your mind wants to remain fixed. Your being is fluid. So, every conflict within you is a fight between the mind and existence. The mind clings to what was. The being flows with what is. When I say life separates the false from the true, I am describing this eternal struggle. Every moment, life invites you to drop the old and step into the new, but you hesitate. You hesitate because you have built your identity around the old, and when the old begins to collapse, you feel as if you are collapsing too, but you are not collapsing. Only your illusions are. You see, the ego is a collector. It collects opinions, possessions, people, titles, stories. It lives from accumulation. The soul, however, thrives in emptiness. The more you empty yourself, the closer you come to the truth. But emptiness scares you. You have been trained to believe that emptiness means loneliness, loss, nothingness. It is not so. Emptiness is not the absence of life. It is the presence of space. And in that space, truth appears, quietly, naturally, without effort. The false must be removed for the true to be revealed. The room must be cleaned before beauty can enter. That is why life seems to destroy. But it never truly destroys. It cleans, it unburdens you. It removes the unnecessary weight that you keep calling my life. When you lose a job, a relationship, a role, something in you screams, "Why me?" But a deeper part of you whispers, "Now you can be free." Freedom frightens you because it takes away your excuses. When there is no one to blame, no identity to hide behind, no role to play, you face yourself, naked and silent. And in that silence, you either run back to your illusions or you stay and awaken. Self-knowledge is not comfortable because it confronts you with your own fakeness. It makes you see how much of your life is imitation. You talk about love, but your love is often possession. You talk about freedom, but your freedom is often fear disguised as choice. You talk about happiness, but your happiness depends on others' approval. Life will keep testing these illusions. It will put you in situations where what is false cannot survive. Relationships will break to show you your dependency. Success will fade to show you your insecurity. Health will fluctuate to show you your fear of death. Every test is a revelation. Every loss is a mirror. And one day, if you are attentive, you will stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What is this showing me?" That is the shift, from victimhood to awakening. When you begin to see life through this lens, suffering transforms into clarity. Pain becomes purification. The storm no longer terrifies you because you know only the false can be blown away. The true in you remains untouched, unshaken, eternal. The whole journey of self-knowledge is nothing but learning to trust this process. Life knows how to unmask you. You just need to cooperate. Stop protecting your illusions and start protecting your awareness. Stop asking for comfort and start asking for truth. Because the truth once seen liberates you completely. And life is only trying to set you free. People ask me, why does life take so much from us before it gives? I tell them, life does not take, it reveals. It removes what was never truly part of you. But because you built your identity around the temporary, when life cleans you, you feel stripped naked. You cry not because life is cruel, but because you confuse the false with the real. Society has taught you this confusion. It has told you since birth who you should be. It has filled you with goals, ambitions, ideals, all borrowed. You learn to chase the shadows of success, to wear the costumes of morality, to repeat words you do not understand. You have been hypnotized to believe that imitation is intelligence, that following is safety, that obedience is virtue. But I tell you, the greatest rebellion is self-knowledge. To know yourself is to break every chain that society has placed around your soul. It is to realize that what you have been calling me is just a collection of other people's expectations. You see, society does not want you to know yourself. It wants you to remain useful, predictable, obedient. It gives you an identity, a name, a religion, a nationality, and then convinces you that these labels are your essence. And the moment you believe it, you stop searching. You settle for borrowed meaning. That is why most people live asleep, walking, talking, earning, achieving, but asleep. Their lives are full of noise but empty of awareness. They are successful in the eyes of the world, but strangers to themselves. And when life tries to wake them, through pain, loss, or failure, they run to the nearest distraction. Look at how society functions. Everything around you is designed to keep you occupied, to keep you busy with the non-essential. Entertainment, ambition, gossip, competition, all are tools of the collective sleep. Because if you ever became silent, even for a moment, you would see through the illusion. You would realize how deeply false the entire game is. Self-knowledge is dangerous to the system, because a man who knows himself cannot be controlled. He cannot be manipulated through fear or reward. He does not obey, he understands, he does not follow, he sees. And that seeing, that clarity, is freedom. But freedom is frightening to those who have lived as slaves. You have been trained to fear your own freedom because it comes without guarantees. Freedom means you must take responsibility for your own being. You cannot blame your parents, your culture, your past. You cannot hide behind a crowd. You must stand alone in your own light. And to stand alone, that is the beginning of elevation. That is when life starts to lift you, but first it must separate you. It must tear you away from the false comfort of the herd. It must confront you with your loneliness so that you can discover your aloneness. And they are not the same. Loneliness is the absence of others. Aloneness is the presence of yourself. Loneliness feels empty. Aloneness is full, vibrant, alive. Loneliness cries for attention. Aloneness celebrates silence. And life will keep isolating you until you learn the beauty of being with yourself. When you are alone and unafraid, you become dangerous to all illusions. You no longer need validation. You no longer beg for love. You become love. You no longer seek meaning outside. Meaning radiates from your own presence, and society cannot use such a being. That is why it calls them crazy, rebellious, mystical. But that is what life wants you to be. Not normal, not adjusted, not tamed. Life wants you raw, alive, aware. It does not want a well-behaved slave, it wants an awakened soul. That is why the path of self-knowledge is not about improving yourself. It is about removing what was never yours. You were not born false. You were born pure, spontaneous, curious. Then the conditioning began, and layer by layer, the natural was replaced by the artificial. The child became an actor, and life, in its wisdom, keeps trying to strip the costume. This is why I say life separates the false from the true before it elevates you. It cannot take you higher while you carry the weight of lies. It cannot let you fly while you cling to the cage of your own beliefs. You must drop them one by one, religion, ideology, identity, ego, until nothing remains but awareness. And then in that nothingness, you will find everything. The irony is beautiful. Society told you that knowing yourself was selfish, that questioning was dangerous, that silence was laziness. But the moment you question, you start to live. The moment you turn inward, you begin to exist for the first time. And when you are truly alive, only then can you give, because now what you give comes from truth, not from need. So understand, life is not punishing you when it removes your illusions. It is liberating you. It is not humiliating you when it takes away your masks. It is preparing you for authenticity. When life breaks you, it is not destroying you. It is freeing the real you from the shell that you mistook for yourself. When you begin to see through the illusions of society, something inside you starts to tremble. At first you feel lost, because all the reference points that gave you security are dissolving. You no longer believe in the lies that used to comfort you, yet the truth has not fully revealed itself. That space between the old and the new, that void, is the most sacred moment of transformation. Do not rush to fill it. Do not run back to your old identities. Stay empty. Stay open. Because only in emptiness can the truth descend. People often ask me, Osho, why can't I see my true self? And I tell them, because you are too full of yourself. You are full of noise, full of opinions, full of desires, full of fear. There is no space left for truth to enter. Truth is not something you can invite into a crowded room. You must create silence. You must create space. Then truth comes naturally, like fragrance from a flower. The problem is, you have been taught to fear silence. You think silence means absence. But silence is presence, the purest form of being. You think stillness is death, but stillness is life in its most intense form. The more you know yourself, the less you need from the world. And this frightens those around you because your very presence becomes a mirror. Your silence exposes their noise. Your freedom exposes their slavery. Your authenticity exposes their masks. That is why people often reject or misunderstand those who are awakening. It is not because you are wrong. It is because your light hurts their eyes. But do not dim yourself to be accepted. That is how the false regains power over you. You do not owe the world your conformity. You owe existence your truth. The only responsibility you have is to be real, radically, fearlessly real. Life will continue to test you again and again. It will keep bringing people, situations, and challenges that push every hidden button inside you. It will shake your attachments, disturb your comfort, expose your shadows. This is how it keeps polishing you, removing the dust of conditioning until your being shines like a mirror. You may think life is being hard on you, but it is not. It is being precise. It gives you exactly what is needed to awaken, not what your ego desires, but what your soul demands. When you understand this, gratitude replaces complaint. You begin to see that even your suffering had purpose. The heartbreaks, the failures, the betrayals, all were divine instruments, carefully designed to separate the false from the true. Without them, you would never have turned inward. Without them, you would still be asleep in comfort. And slowly, as your awareness deepens, you begin to see the great paradox, that nothing was ever against you. Life has always been on your side, even when it appeared to be cruel. The universe is not punishing you. It is sculpting you. Every cut, every wound, every storm was carving you into clarity. You were not being broken. You were being shaped. But remember, awakening is not a destination. It is not a final achievement. It is a continuous unfolding, like a flower that never stops blooming. Every day, life will show you new layers of falseness to shed, new aspects of truth to embody. There is no end to this journey because truth is infinite. Do not seek perfection. Seek presence. Perfection belongs to the mind. Presence belongs to being. When you are present, even your imperfections become beautiful, because they are real. The fake smile disappears, and the real tears begin to cleanse you. The false strength collapses, and true vulnerability arises. You begin to understand that to be authentic is not to be flawless, but to be whole, to include everything, your light and your darkness, your joy and your fear, without denial, without pretense. This wholeness is your elevation, not some heavenly place above, but a grounded, luminous clarity within. It is not about escaping the human, it is about embracing it fully, consciously. And when you live from that consciousness, you become a blessing. Your very being starts to heal the world around you, not through effort, but through presence. You no longer act from ego, you respond from awareness. That is the elevation life prepares you for. Not status, not power, not recognition, but consciousness. A height of being, not of having. The false in you wants to rise in the eyes of others. The true in you wants to rise in the eyes of existence. The false wants applause, the true wants peace. And life in its compassion will not let you settle for the false. It will take away your trophies, your masks, your pride, until you discover the joy of simply being. And then one day, you look back and realize everything you lost was never truly yours. Everything that left you was only clearing the path for who you really are. One day, you will look back at everything that has happened, and the heartbreaks, the confusions, the endings, and you will smile. You will smile not because they were easy, but because they were necessary. You will see that every person who left, every plan that failed, every dream that collapsed was part of life's invisible design. Nothing was random. Life was never punishing you, it was preparing you. Life separates the false from the true before it elevates you. And when you finally see that, your resistance melts. You stop fighting with existence, you stop demanding explanations, you stop blaming others for your pain. You simply allow because you understand that everything serves your awakening. The moment you stop resisting, the struggle ends. What was once suffering becomes transformation. What was once loss becomes liberation. What was once darkness becomes a teacher. The world tells you to fix your life. I tell you to see your life. You don't need to fix what was never broken. You only need to awaken from the dream of who you thought you were. The illusion of control keeps you asleep. Surrender wakes you up. Self-knowledge is not about finding a better version of yourself. It is about realizing there was never a version at all, just masks, stories, fragments. When all that falls away, what remains is silence. And in that silence, you meet yourself for the first time, not the self society built, not the self your past created, but the self that simply is. This is the beauty of awakening. It gives you nothing, yet it leaves you with everything. It takes away all that is false, and suddenly you are free, free from fear, free from dependency, free from the endless hunger to become someone. You no longer chase life, you are in harmony with it. You no longer seek meaning, you are meaning. And this is the moment when elevation happens. Not because you climbed, but because you let go. Life does not lift the heavy, it lifts the light. When you have dropped the burden of falsehood, you rise effortlessly, like a feather that finally stops pretending to be a stone. The world will still be the same, full of chaos, ambition, and noise, but you will no longer belong to it in the same way. You will move through it with grace, untouched. You will live in it, but not of it. You will love without fear, give without expectation, speak without pretending. That is true elevation, not somewhere in the future, but here, now, in the silent recognition of what you are. You are the awareness in which all things appear and disappear. The people, the situations, the emotions, they come and go, but you remain. You are not the waves. You are the ocean that allows them. And once you see this, no storm can shake you again. So let life take what it must. Let it strip, let it burn, let it dissolve. Do not cling to the ashes of what was false. Trust the fire, because the fire of truth does not destroy, it purifies. When the false is gone, what remains is not emptiness, but presence, radiant, vast, eternal. That presence is you, and once you live from that presence, everything becomes sacred. Washing dishes, walking in the rain, holding someone's hand, every act becomes meditation, every breath becomes prayer. You no longer seek God in temples, you find Him in your heartbeat. You no longer seek enlightenment as a goal, you live it as a state of being. Life has elevated you, not above others, but beyond illusion. You understand now, nothing real can ever be lost, and nothing unreal can ever be kept. The game is over, and yet life continues, simple, silent, alive. And as you sit quietly, with no goal, no identity, no ambition, just presence, you feel the profound joy of being yourself. You realize that life never wanted you to be anyone else. It only wanted you to wake up to the truth of what you already are. That is the secret of life's compassion. It will destroy every illusion you cling to until only truth remains. It will separate the false from the true, not to punish you, but to elevate you, to bring you home. So now, when life begins to shake your ground again, remember this. Do not fight the storm. Be grateful. Something false is leaving. Something real is emerging. And when you understand this, you will never fear loss again. You will walk through life with eyes open, heart open, soul open, ready to be transformed again and again, because that is what it means to live consciously. That is what it means to be truly alive. And if these words resonate with something deep inside you, that quiet whisper that says, "Yes, I've always known this," then stay. Continue to listen. Continue to question. Continue to explore. There are more truths waiting for you. In silence, in awareness, in the next breath, life will keep separating the false from the true, and each time it does, you will rise a little higher, not above others, but deeper within yourself.